Alrighty, guys, we're back for Selesnya Legends, and this is a Murders at Karlov Manor standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. Rockin' Kutzil, Malamet Exemplar. This is a 3-mana, 3/3 legendary creature, Cat Warrior, and that's the only reason we're actually playing with it in here. No, nothing else to see. Now, actually, it is a legendary creature. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn, that's pretty good, and whenever one or more creatures you control, each with power greater than its base power, deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, so a great way to potentially keep our hands stocked up too. Nice, good stuff. Actually, what I wanted to go over first, though, was actually Trostani 3 Whispers, because this is a new card from the relatively new set, right? Murders at Karlov Manor. 3 mana, 4/4, legendary creature, Dryad. Look at all these abilities, man. So 1 and a green, target creature gains Death Touch until end of turn. Okay. Or a green-white hybrid, target creature gains Vigilance until end of turn. Okay. And the bottom ability, 2 and a white, target creature gains Double Strike until end of turn. Okay. That's a lot of things packed onto a card, man. That, like, it just seems good, doesn't it? So I think 3 of them in here are gonna be excellent. Guys, while we're going over the 3 drops, look at this. Mirror Box. How long has it been since we played with Mirror Box? The 2 of them in here. The 3 mana artifact and the legend rule doesn't apply to permanents you control. Cool. Each legendary creature you control gets +1/+1. Each non-token creature you control gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control with the same name as that creature. Very nice, dude. Yeah, Mirror Box is good. The problem is the setup for it, right? You have to spend your entire turn 3 just to get this onto the board, but in the right build, I do think this is excellent. And I think this is the right build because we have like a little bit of an artifact theme packed in here as well. Like Patchwork Automaton, for example. 2 mana, 1/1, Ward 2. Yep, Ward 2 goes a long way. Excuse me, guys. But whenever you cast an artifact spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Patchwork Automaton. Beautiful. Okay. Now, more stuff to work with the artifact theme is actually like Teething Wurmlet here. Of course, 1 mana, 1/1. It's a worm. Nice. Teething Wurmlet has Death Touch as long as you control 3 or more artifacts. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Okay. If this is the first time that ability has resolved this turn, then you put a +1/+1 counter on Teething Wurmlet. Every time we play with Teething Wurmlet, dude, it's like an MVP that the opponent needs to pick up. It has a huge target on its back, man, because it grows out of control really fast. I think it's actually going to be perfect in here, even though it's not a legendary creature. More things to work with the artifact theme is actually going to be Gingerbrute, too. So 1 mana, 1/1 with haste for 1 mana. It can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with haste. It also has that food ability stamped onto the bottom of the card too. I guess you never know if you're going to eat poor Gingerbrute. If you're up against a particularly aggressive deck, that 3 life could come in handy. But stuff to work with like Gingerbrute and the artifact theme and whatnot, it's actually going to be Agatha's Soul Cauldron, which also works with like the whole, like, I guess we want to call it a +1/+1 counter theme too, right? Because how Kutzil works is creature you control each with power greater than its base power. So like instantly Patchwork as soon as you play an artifact. Same concept with Wurmlet as well. And then more ways to get those +1/+1 counters is going to be Soul Cauldron. So it's a 2 mana legendary artifact. You may spend mana as though or mana of any color to activate abilities of creatures you control. So like the Trostani here, that's pretty cool. Creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them have all activated abilities of all creature cards exiled with Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Yeah, dude, same concept with all these abilities on the Trostani. Actually a wild ability to think about. And the bottom ability, of course, you tap this, exile target card from a graveyard. When a creature card is exiled this way, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. So Soul Cauldron is also going to be great against all the roots builds that we've been seeing too. More things to work with the artifact theme, to work with the legendary theme, and to work with the +1/+1 counter theme. Ozolith made the cut. Gonna be excellent in here. We got 2 of them. Also, Kellan, Daring Traveler. So 2 mana, 2/3. When it attacks, you reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card with mana value 3 or less, you put it into your hand. Otherwise, you may put it into your graveyard. Okay. So as that journey on side of things, it's a sorcery adventure. So create X map tokens where X is 1 plus the number of opponents who control an artifact. So it's 1. So it's going to be usually 1. Or if your opponent controls an artifact, it's going to be 2 map tokens, which honestly could really come in handy, huh? More ways to put more +1/+1 counters on the board. Those map tokens do work with Wurmlet, but note that it does not work with Patchwork because, of course, they're not being cast. And then more artifacts and our choice spot removal for the build, all 4 Glass Caskets, and all 4 of these because the main deck that I'm seeing right now is actually Boros. And so this picks up almost everything in Boros outside of their top-end Knight. I think it's going to be excellent in here, and I think as far as their top-end Knight goes, I think our creatures can just outpace it. We'll see though, right? More on the top end, working with the artifact theme, working with the legendary theme. We got Skrelv as a 3 of, gonna be perfect in here, dude. And then the very top end of the build here, we have Sovereign Okinec Awa. Something like that, right? I don't probably pronounce this different every time I played with it. It's a 4 mana, 3/4, legendary creature, cat noble. And again, that's it. That's the only reason we're playing with it. Nothing else to see there. So it has Ward 2. That's pretty good, right? Whenever Sovereign attacks, for each creature you control with power greater than that creature's base power, so like everything in here all the time, hopefully, you put a number of +1/+1 counters on that creature equal to it the difference. So that could just expand your creatures at an insane rate, right? So I'm super interested to see how much this card is actually going to do today. Now, the mana base is actually pretty terrific here. We have all 4 Plaza of Heroes. I think it's going to do a thing. We have a single Restless Prairie, because Restless lands come in handy. And then we're opting for all the fast lands between the Thickets and the Brushlands. Hopefully the Brushland's not doing too much damage to us, because we are taking a ton of damage all the time. Who Endures and a couple Seat of the Empires for a total of 24. One of the main reasons, of course, to play a couple Seat of the Empires, just more removal in here is going to be good, but then also it costs 1 less for each legendary, and the same concept with Who Endures. I just don't know if 2 Who Endures would be worth the risk as well. It might be, especially to take out like War Leader's Call or something. Something to think about, I suppose. You have some honorable mentions over here, guys. Yotian Frontliner almost made the cut. I thought about Stalwart, thought about Soul Cleaver. Definitely thought about Thalia for the build too, but this slows a lot down in our build. It taxes our Mirror Box, our Ozolith, and our Soul Cauldron, and that's a lot of tax. Oh, and the Glass Casket too. Malira, the Living Cure. Malira? Yeah. This almost made the cut too. This is just a 2 mana 3/3 legendary creature with a decent ability, but we don't see too much poison overall. Adeline almost made the cut too, and a Johnny Sleeper Agent also almost made the cut. All these honorable mentions are honorable mentions for a good reason, bro. Okay, hopefully that's everything, guys. Let's go ahead, take it into some ranked and see how we do. Okay, we'll see if we can get right into that first match. Heck yeah, we do. In the meantime, what am I expecting from the build? I don't know. I feel like it's going to be good. Ooh, great first hand. Yeah, dude. Great first hand. Opponent goes first, unfortunately, but we can't complain about this at all. We hold off on the Plaza of Heroes for now. Razorverge Thicket, of course, being the first land we drop here. Oh, and the first land the opponent drops too. And we drew one, so the second land we end up dropping as well. And then right into Patchwork Automaton. Okay, Jukai Naturalist. Hey, here's a list we haven't seen a lot of recently. You guys suppose they take this trade? It'd be a pretty good trade for us. I'm going for it. I don't think they even accept this trade. It'd be a really good trade for us. Yeah, there we go. We got 2 through. Spirited Companion. Spirited Companion number 2. Nope, it's got to be a Weaver of Harmony, though. That's pretty good. Holy cow, dude. Yep, that's pretty good. And they still have mana. It's pretty rough that they went first here, guys, for sure. This is going to be an uphill battle. Go for the swing. Yep, back up to 21. They're trading life totals with us. They have this one open. Kellan can buff the Wurmlet. That's a good draw. That's a really good draw, actually. Kutzil. first, well, we go second Wurmlet. We're going to be stuck between a rock and a hard place in no time, dude. What land do we play here? I guess the forest, right? Because we plan on tapping everything down anyways, and Wurmlet. Oh, okay. Plaza of Heroes would have worked because the map token. So buff the Wurmlets. Buff. See what happens to the map token on Wurmlet number 1 and see if we get that swing. We do not get that swing. Double block could take out... Actually, we do get that swing. A double block would take out both of these because Weaver of Harmony would be gone, which means... Okay, so they're back down to 18. And by swinging in with Wurmlet 2... I mean, this is still the target for their removal if they find it. And then at that point, our Glass Casket off the top would be really good. All this extra mana is bad, but good thing we had that map token to get rid of that plains off the top, huh? Ossification hits that big Wurmlet that we swung in with. Oh, they're going to double down both Wurmlets out of this equation, dude. Uh-oh. That's pretty bad. That was a great reason for the opponent not to double block there, for sure. Taking 5. They're going back up to 20. Another Wurmlet off the top. Like, none of this is particularly bad. I'm just not sure this is exactly what we've been wanting to see here, you know what I mean? Especially now that we don't have a great way to get artifacts on the board. A lot of great artifacts in the deck, though. Attack Selesnya versus Selesnya, and this is heavily leaning towards the opponent, guys. Heavily. Oh, another Weaver of Harmony. More removal. If it's gonna be like ossification, borrowed time, yep, same concept, then they use Weaver. They get rid of 2 more things for the price of 1 card. At that point, oh, we're like super dead. Let's take this and see what we see off the top. Plaza of Heroes. Oh no, guys. So we ended up flooding out here pretty good, huh? I would call this a flood for sure. Although overall, we it wasn't too bad. One of our 4 Glass Caskets early on, maybe to take out the first Naturalist would have been good, but I think maybe the first Weaver would have been a little bit better, right? We'll go ahead and we'll chump the big guys. Good game, opponent. Weaver of Harmony has always been ridiculous. If the opponent is allowed setting up with Harmony, like just being able to use that ability to take out 2 permanents has always just been incredible, huh? As a matter of fact, what is Selesnya enchantments running nowadays, guys? Are they is it the same build that it's been for the last couple years? I shouldn't say the last couple years, right? Because it really came back once Calyx came around. And Calyx has only been around for like maybe the last year. Okay, going first here is pretty good. Doubling down on Automaton before playing Mirror Box is probably better. Ooh, very nice. Okay. Yeah, very nice draw with the Gingerbrute here. No swings. Elspeth's Mite is a thing that people are playing. And keeping Skrelv as protection is a little better anyways. So Fading Hope, okay. So actually, Fading Hope isn't that bad for us because now Skrelv is in hand. That's another artifact that gets a chance to buff our automatons. So of course we start with the automaton, see if it lands. And then we attempt the Skrelv over the Gingerbrutes. All this before combat. Okay, Skrelv lands as well. And the ward 2 is perfect. The best thing they could do is bounce the Skrelv back, or hit the Skrelv with removal too. Let's see, on their third, it's going to be a Picklock Prankster, huh? I was going to say on their third mana, temporary lockdown has been a thing that we've been seeing. Oh, Hottie Jin. Oh, nice, opponent. Aha. Mini Reanimator. Okay, okay. So that is probably a problem. Mirror Box only buffing the Skrelv here for the turn. Doubling down on Gingerbrute. Doubling down on Gingerbrute. I don't think it's going to be a board wipe. Mini Reanimator, I don't think... they would run to populate, actually, right? Maybe. Maybe it's like a one-of emergency board wipe on the top end. Keeping Skrelv's ability open over keeping blocks might be a little better here, too. So let's keep the block over here. Let's keep the Skrelv ability open without damage. Mini Reanimator can be pretty explosive, guys. Big reason to play the double Gingerbrute, of course, is 1 extra damage through with the Gingerbrute, but of course the buffing up the Patchworks twice with both of those is really good. So they can bring back the other Hottie Jin with the helping hand, but Recommission brings it back untapped. So the big thing here is calling blue on Patchwork, big Patchwork, and then slipping through with Gingerbrute. But of course, going for the discard. Buffing the Hottie Jins. Could be a consider. I'm gonna say some spot removal wouldn't be bad, but the ward on these is so good, guys. They'll have 1 mana open. It could be a tempo play. Okay. Brushland off the top is actually not terrible. What that does is it gives us 2 open mana. We play this, buff the Patchworks, buff, activate Gingerbrute's ability. Of course, we could have just paid the 2 for the Skrelv ability anyways. But it just feels a little better not paying the 2 here since we don't know what kind of tempo play they could do. But actually, I guess they don't have anything because of the ward on the Patchwork. Otherworldly Gaze, they just buff up the Hottie Jins a little bit more here. GG opponent. Yeah, I wanted to play it out completely, but everything was greatly leaning towards us there, right? Because I don't know what that last mana could have been for a Ward 2 Patchwork that was slipping by their blue Hottie Jins. What could it have been? Like a flash creature that happened to be not blue, right? Like a 1 mana white flash creature. I don't even know what that would be to block the automaton. I suppose that could have been something. Either way, I think it was still worthwhile playing that out completely, not taking too much damage off the Skrelv, as the Hottie Jins could have easily won them the game with some explosive power. Good stuff, man. Now, that part of the list showcased just the artifact side of things, and also showcasing the power level of Patchwork Automaton and how strong just the opponent not being able to remove them effectively actually is. Glass Casket, see, the opponent goes first here, so like this is actually really good. We keep this, dude. And hopefully we see more power, but like overall, these Glass Caskets, yeah, totally going to do a thing. Boros Go Wide's a problem though, since we're only going to be hitting 1 creature at a time with those. We play it for the sake of just using the mana that we've played. Other than that, Gingerbrute's just sitting here looking pretty for now. Warden. And tap everything. And nothing else. Okay, good. Good, excellent. So Ozolith isn't bad. Skrelv isn't bad. Probably Ozolith for the turn. Just get that down and established seems like a good play. Speaking of Elspeth's Smite existing, huh? Let's go for the swing. I don't plan on blocking with Gingerbrute right now anyways. It wouldn't be bad to take out Warden, but the plan here is Glass Casket the Warden after they waste another turn tapping down their important things, right? So they spend a turn, they tap everything down, then we surprise them with the Glass Casket next turn. Oh. Knight Errant of Eos does not get picked up by Glass Casket, unfortunately. A good turn for the opponent. More mana. So we do have Casket, Skrelv. We could still pick up Ward and get the Skrelv down for protection. We could go counters on Gingerbrute, and then swing through with Gingerbrute. Okay, yeah, man. Oh, what the heck, huh? Let's do this. Won't be blocked except by creatures with haste. Main reasoning is I think we're in trouble. Like, as far as what's in our hand and everything, I'm not seeing a lot of great ways to stop the overwhelming power that Boros can bring to the table. At any point, they can be explosive enough to, right? They can play a 1-drop here. Okay, it's going to be reinforcements instead. I was going to say they can play Warden, and then they could play Imodane's Recruiter, give everything haste, swing in with a nice buffed board state, and then what's our lonely little Gingerbrute with a Skrelv going to do? You know what I mean? So just like taking the turn, buffing up the Gingerbrute, swinging in. If we're in danger either way, then sometimes the greedier option is pretty good. Knight Errant number 2 coming down. Glass Casket not proving itself in this match for sure, as the Knight Errants are a big problem. Restocking with a Recruiter in hand. Down to 14. Glass Casket number 3, guys. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, like I said, Glass Casket not proving itself this game. We do have 2 Seat of the Empires, which Knight Errant of Eos does get picked up by a seat as long as it's not buffed by a War Leader's Call. So we're at 14. They're going to have 10 from the... Activate only as a sorcery. And then we keep Gingerbrute as a blocker. I think we die this turn, though. Because they're going to have 10 from the Knight Errants. That brings us down to 4. They're going to have 6 from the Inspectors. Another 2 from the Epicure. And then a 3 from the Recruiter. So even if we block their biggest thing in trade, that should be lethal damage. Oh, especially since Epicure also did 1 to us too. We actually ended up at -3. Good game, opponent. Those Boros lists, huh? Wild stuff. Look, guys, we're 1 victory away from platinum. Let's get there. Easy peasy, huh? We lost 1, we won 1. We lost 1, now we win 1. And then we get back up to platinum. We'll sit nice and pretty at the bottom of platinum, right where I like to be. But guys, last month, we were actually accidentally ranking up. We almost actually made it to diamond. We were like quite literally a couple wins away. Just by sitting down and recording videos, we almost accidentally got there. It's pretty cool. There we go, Trostani. All right. We got some of the... Okay, opponent goes first. We got some of the legends in hand that I want to see, and I feel like it would be silly to mulligan this away when I really want to see Trostani. You know what I mean? It's actually Thicket, right? Guys, this is more Boros, isn't it? Oh no, guys. Okay, Demolition on the frontliner. I don't think they bring back frontliner yet. Gonna be a Commando, actually. Glass Casket should probably hold its horses. Automaton was a really good draw. We wanted something to play for the turn, and we got it, so... Unfortunately... Oh, that's a big swing for them, dude. Glass Casket does pick up Recruiter, but we're in danger already. Down to 9. Easily could die next turn. Commando flips. Okay. If we go... Frontliner comes back. If we go Trostani... Uh-oh, guys. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, not a hand that's actually suited for dealing with this right now. But buffing the Patchwork isn't bad. Taking care of Recruiter. and then having a blocker, I think we might die this turn, guys. Yeah, I mean, it's like I've been saying, there's a good reason we've been seeing a lot of this Boros list. I've been saying it for like the last week or so in these videos as we've just continuously been running into these. I think we could easily die this turn. Are we alive? We're alive, guys. So do I keep Patchwork around, take more damage down to 3? It's a Lightning Helix, then we die. So we trade into Etching. Down to 4. Lightning Helix doesn't kill us. I'm so sorry, Patchwork. I'm so sorry. But we can't run into a Lightning Helix for the turn. Warden of the Inner Sky. And it's down to 17. We are sweating. Oh, Gingerbrute. Bro, that would have been so good last turn, right? So far, we've been seeing a little bit too much mana, huh? Get that Trostani. Let's get that Gingerbrute. We're going to need that emergency blocker for sure. And let's hope that the opponent doesn't see anything else. So I could see dropping 1 land and going up another 1-drop for this list so far, right? Like Gingerbrute last turn, just to have an additional blocker, our Patchwork would have been a 3-3. Oh, Emodane's Recruiter comes down and wraps up this game regardless, guys. Good game, opponent. Man. Okay. 2 wins from Platinum. Let's get there, guys. We're only 26 minutes in. We could easily get a couple wins in a row here. I still believe in the list. We're going to need to go first against the Boros, though, if we want to be in favor, I would say. Although I think we could totally get there against the Boros lists if they go first. They also just put on so much pressure where we just need a little bit of setup. Just a little bit. Just a smidgen. Smidgen. If that's a word, right? People say that. All right, opponent, what you bringing to the table, buddy? Opponent goes first, unfortunately. Hopefully it's not going to be more Boros, guys. Great hand. If it is more Boros, this hand is much more suited to deal with that. Okay, Patchwork is ready for next turn. I mean, that's got to be some spot removal open, right? That doesn't stop our line of play. We go right into Patchwork. And if they remove Wurmlet, Patchwork has Ward 2 for a little while. For a little while protecting it. A swing here would be risking an Elspeth's Mite. Worth the risk, I would say, right? Let's try it. It's going to be a Virtue, actually. Trading into the 2-2. That was also a big risk, right? Not just an Elspeth's Mite, which we've been seeing more of. We've also been seeing more like Resolute Reinforcements in builds too and stuff like that. Glass Casket luckily takes care of that. Creature. Okay. We should get rid of Creature, buff the Patchwork. Unfortunately, I am going to go Map Token. Now that Wurmlet's gone, I don't know how much it's worth it, but it feels worth it to use up the mana, right? I think so. Phyrexian Sensor. Dude, nice. Each opponent can't cast more than 1 non-Phyrexian spell each turn. Non-Phyrexian creatures enter the battlefield tapped. Brutal, brutal stuff. Nothing in this hand. If we play Automaton... the 3-3, they might trade in, but I don't think they do. We start with the Map Token. Because that could change our line. It's going to be a land. Alright. Yeah, only being able to play one thing meant Wurmlet was a really good draw. I take this trade. Alright. That's good, because now we'll be able to play multiple things. We already replaced the first Patchwork anyways. Oh, second Phyrexian Sensor comes down, guys. Okay. Luckily, if we see more Glass Caskets, we'll be able to take care of it that way. Who Endures isn't terrific. I guess the Trostani comes down. And again, only being able to do one thing here is really, really bad. Comes down tapped too. We could give Death Touch to the Automaton. That could be cool, actually. Gains Death Touch until the end. But we'd have to play the Who Endures, which we might want to clean up the Virtue of Loyalty, so we shouldn't. Vigilance wouldn't be bad there either, but... surprisingly, this Phyrexian Sensor has slowed us down significantly. Oh no, Deep Cavern Bat. Okay. Let's see what they end up doing. Oh, luckily their Deep Cavern Bat comes in tapped too, which is kind of funny since it's not a Phyrexian. They decide our Kutzil was worth taking there. Okay. They go for the swing. We accept this. No blocks. So potentially Orzhov Tempo then is kind of the vibe I'm getting from the opponent's list right now. Another Wurmlet, like none of this is bad, but only being able to do one thing each turn, it's actually super rough. So Kellan might be a little better then. But then we won't get the double strike on Trostani, which I suppose they'd want to be holding spot removal open for when we waste the mana on this. Well, what the heck, man? Let's give it a shot. This could be really good damage. And if it's spot removal, it is what it is. We just play Wurmlet. It is, in fact, spot removal. It's going to be a go for the throat for the Trostani. That's that. We play the Wurmlet, and we're in big trouble here, huh? As things seem to be lining up very nicely for the opponents. Go for the swing because I don't plan on blocking with Automaton right now. The first trade into the sensor was rough business. Mainly because it was a good trade, but then they played the second sensor. But what made it such a good trade is our hand was set up to play multiple things and play them really well. And now we can't. They're going to go ahead and pay the ward cost on the Automaton. Going back up to 19 here. Another Wurmlet. That's all of them. And we can't do... and we can't spam them onto the board, guys. So the best bet, we keep Who Endures open. We can't play the Wurmlets. Take another 4. Is hitting them for 1? I guess so. We don't want to block with Wurmlet because any artifacts off the top will gain us life as well. And once they see their 5th mana, we still want to go Who Endures onto the Virtue. Looks like they're going to miss their 5th mana again, potentially. Another Glass Casket off the top could be huge, but also since they've been swinging with this, a Seat of the Empire would be so good for us. Kellan could help us find some goodies. It's going to be March of the Otherworldly Light, all of their mana onto the Kellan. Since we're at 7, I mean, we're in big danger, huh? Wow, Sovereign is such a good draw, but it comes in tapped. So it's still not a great blocker. The ward too, the opponent could still get around quite easily. So now, instead of swinging with Wurmlet, we do have to keep this chump blocker back. Not being able to do more than one thing is actually really, really rough, man. We need to take out this sensor immediately. And then even if we do, they could have a 3rd one, right? Yeah, so we awkwardly chump here. Going down to 6, opponents back up to 20. I'll go for the throat, pay the 2. Sovereign's out of this equation, guys. A Glass Casket, let's go. We still want to take care of the bat, but this sensor needs to go, man. But, oh yeah, dude, the sensor's so rough. We don't get any benefit from this artifact from our other Wurmlets because we simply can't do these multiple things. And if we go... We no longer have Who Endures open if they do all of a sudden find their 5th. We also have to take one. Guys, if they find their 5th this turn, then unfortunately, I think it's heavily leaning towards them. I think it's been leaning towards them, But, like, you know, like, getting what they need when they needed it and then finding a 5th while we're tapped out. Okay, all right. This means that this could start leaning back in our direction, as we can now keep the Huanders open for the Virtue. Which, by the way, guys, they do know that this Huanders is in hand. That is very much noteworthy. Like, if they know about it, they might just choose not to play the Virtue. And since they know about it. All right, full swing. I truly believe we can now start leaning this back in our direction, since they missed their 5th mana again. Virtue of Loyalty. I mean, a trade into one of the Wurmlets is still really good for them, but... Doorkeeper Thrall. Artifacts and creatures entering the battlefield don't cause abilities to trigger. Wow. That's a little concerning. Right? Because that stops the Wurmlet's ability from gaining us life. It's also another flyer in the air. And it also stops their Deep Cavern Bat. And it's a when we saw Phyrexian Censor, we're like, oh, it's going to be an Orzhov Phyrexian build. But guys, I have no idea what we're up against, man. I do know one thing. It has been hurting our build, so Orzhov taxes, maybe? Right? They're just choosing to tax us. I think we can get there. I do. We're going to need a way to get rid of the Doorkeeper. Are the opponents opting for 2-2 into the 2-2? Gingerbrute gets by. Are they going to chump here? They're going to take 3. Okay. Totally fine. They got 2 in the air. We are on a clock. We won't be gaining any life with any other artifacts off the top. So we might have to gain life off the Gingerbrute's ability. Well, until we get rid of the Doorkeeper, right? Archangel Elspeth. Guys, holy cow, the opponent has absolute fire. They didn't even need their 5th mana to just keep up the pressure this whole time. I do wonder if this actually could have been ours if the second Censor didn't come down, and I actually just don't know. Maybe. I think we would have had a much better setup overall. Artifact, enchantment, or non-basic land. Just double checking there. Okie dokies, taking 2 down to 4. Now we need to focus the Archangel Elspeth as well. Just in big, big trouble. That's rough, man. This card was built to take out, to nullify the Wurmlet, huh? If we go Soul Cauldron, it's pretty good. Because we'll be able to get the counter. Swing. The full swing at, and we take 3. I think since we're in trouble either way, going down to 1 is scary. Oh, we would die actually, because they go 2+1/+1 count. We're dead in the air anyways, huh? So we got to gain off of the Brute. So we actually go onto Wurmlet. Right? They want to protect this, but the Brute needs to be kept open for life gain as they go +1/+1 counters in the air. And then we gain 3 off the food ability. Oh, guys. Well, first of all, I'm not sure what made me want to use the Soul Cauldron to not actually grab the Trostani from the grave. Okay, back up to 7, down to 2. Maybe, right? We might die here. Okay, nice. Opponent goes back up to 23. Interesting deck from the opponent. Not what I was expecting at all. Kind of feels anti-meta, right? They also have removal for that Wurmlet as well. Another Trostani. Cool. So if we play a Trostani, we go down to 1. If we go Agatha's Soul Cauldron onto our Trostani, does it just like double down on the abilities? Like, what does the card look like? That's what I want to know. It does. See, it has all the abilities twice on there. It's actually pretty sick. Really cool. GG opponent. Orzhov taxes, Orzhov anti-meta. I have no idea exactly what was going on there. But pretty neat, I suppose. Okay, deck win rate, 20%. Having a rough time. We're 40 minutes in. Let's push this one more game. I totally believe in the list. I think the main issue right now is I was expecting something from the list. No, I'm just teasing, guys. But I truly was. I actually think there's a lot of power packed into this deck. So let's not run into that last list. That last list was kind of scary, man, but just because I just had no idea what to play against. And I think that might have been the opponent's strategy, right? Just like Orzhov, what the heck are we playing against? Was the deck name there. And it worked well. We go first. Good hand. Let's do this. Let's see that mirror box do a thing today, too. Okay, I was considering the Restless Prairie, but I think it's better just to do the Skrelv right now, and potentially we don't have a target for the Glass Casket anyways. Reinforced Ronin. Dude. Nice. Yeah, potentially no target for the Glass Casket. Exactly how that ended up working out here. I'm gonna get the Poison Ball rolling just because, man. Skrelv can't block anyways, and it has no targets to protect. Reinforced Ronin, swing for 2. Trostani's a great blocker here. Another Glass Casket. Okay. Only this time we keep Skrelv as protection. Phoenix check. Yep, getting in the air, but now we actually have a target for the Glass Casket, which is good news. Phoenix check. Okay, well, we have a target for both of our Glass Caskets. Are those worthwhile hitting? Maybe. Okay, let's see what's on top here. We could have a problem in no time. So Mirrorbox buff the Trostani and then Gingerbrute and then swing for 5. 6. Put the opponent at 14. Right now, being at 14, it kind of feels like we don't have too much pressure on our face. I want to hold the Glass Caskets back. We'll have the Skrelv open for protection. We could full swing, but I think keeping the protection for this Trostani is just more important, right? Because we want that double strike to close up the game when it comes time. Down to 14. I think we can outpace them, guys. I do. Let's see it. 4th mana comes down. It's going to be Anim Pakal. And they still have the Ronin play for the turn, too. So keeping the Skrelv open as protection for the last 2 turns potentially could have just lost us 3 damage of value here. We're going down to 11. Anim Pakal needs picked up by the Glass Casket immediately. No questions asked. I suppose the only thing that... Yeah, no, Anim Pakal needs to go. Another Trostani, though. Bro, how good is that? It's really good is what that is. It buffs the first Trostani to 6. We have 1 mana open. We could totally call Vigilance on it, have a blocker on the ground if they choose to swing with Anim Pakal, and still have that protection open with Skrelv. Right? And they probably take the 6 instead of the chump. And then just having 2 of these on the board is better than nothing. We can always tap that for the white source on Skrelv too, so we won't be taking the 2. Dude, what a draw. What a draw. So we don't need the Vigilance either. We just we swing for 6 and see what they do. And if they go down, yeah, we don't need the Vigilance right now. Hopefully. Hopefully, right? Down to 6. All right, opponent. Let's see it, buddy. If they have 11, it is what it is, huh? Then I suppose it was my greed that was the downfall here. I just don't think they're going to have 11. I think we have a terrific board. War Leader's Call. Nice. Nice, okay. So 4 in the air. Oh, Ronin comes down. I still don't think they have the 11, right? Pokes face down to 10. Swings in the air. They got to swing. They're not swinging. 2 more. Why wasn't it a full swing? Because we had the blockers on the ground that were so good? Was that really it? I think, well, it's 8, so we are forced to block 1 here. We go to blocking step. So that's 6 damage coming through. They played their land for the turn, right? They played their land for the turn? I don't know if they did. I'm blocking just in case. So we call on Skrelv and then double strike the Trostani. And what we do by the block there is if they play a land and play something else that deals more damage to us, then that would be devastating, right? Okay, mana, totally fine. So what we end up doing, we go Skrelv. Wait a minute. They have the blocker on the gnome. Oh, crap. We have to remove... Wait a minute. We have double Glass Casket. we can successfully remove both of these without worrying about the Skrelv or the double strike. Guys, I'm not used to having removal. GG opponent. I'm like, oh man, we got to get around these creatures. Sitting here with 2 pieces of removal in hand. Bro, let's go, huh? Opponent's deck looked awesome. It was a little bit of a different version of War Leader's Call, which you can always appreciate, right? As there do seem to be a lot of great ways to put Boros together. Boros just looking so sick, man. Got a pack here. Let's crack it. Always keep an eye on the chapters down at the bottom of the video and timestamps in the description as well. Oh, relive the past. 7 mana sorcery. Return up to 1 target artifact card, up to 1 target land card, and up to 1 target non-aura enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. They are 5/5 elemental creatures in addition to their other types. It's actually pretty sick, huh? Maybe we should build around that at some point. That's pretty neat. Okay, guys, let's go over the deck list again. I think that it's way better than what the... oh, that was my second one, too. Anyways, here's the deck list again, guys. I think it's way better than what we showcased today. I really think that. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Maybe it's the way I put it together. Maybe we actually got a little bit unlucky in some of those matches. Or maybe it was my lines of play. Maybe I just wasn't playing it optimally as well. Definitely let me know in the comments. Guys, while you're down there and while you're checking out that description and whatnot, always make sure you check out that Discord link. It is a great place for the community to get together, chat it up, drop a deck list, talk about new sets, all that fun stuff. I also post like my new videos. When I put those up, I post over on the Discord. And then also while you're in the description, make sure you check out that Patreon link too. If you're ever interested in supporting the channel that way, it's a great way to support the Red Cat community as a whole. But then also the best reason to join up is probably just the patron suggestions, as I always prioritize the patron suggestions over anything else. So. All right, guys, what do we actually want to say about the list? Trostani actually feels like a pretty strong creature, huh? 3 mana 4/4 is always great, but all those stats, or I should say all those abilities, just give it so much versatility. Kind of felt like we were flooding out a little bit with 24, but with the utility land, theoretically, you shouldn't be flooding out too often. And there's going to be plenty of games where you actually want 5 or 6 mana on the board as well. The double mirror box was actually, like, when we saw mirror box on the board, it was actually pretty good, right? Is what I'm getting at there. The Kellan Daring Traveler was a little better than I thought it was going to be. The map token side of things working with the Wurmlet's actually pretty sick. More artifacts could go a long way to work with the Patchwork Automatons, but we actually have a lot of artifacts packed in here, guys. 21 total, actually. It's actually pretty wild. Of course, like Patchwork works with itself too, so when you are dropping multiple of those, Kutzil never actually had a chance to restock our hand. We actually had a really hard time actually getting creatures to stick on the board. That could very well just be the meta too. Yeah, guys, overall, I think more testing is required. I still think that this deck is more than capable of getting more victories than what we actually saw today. Taking out that aggressive deck there at the end, that was really funny, man. Like the fact that it really tells you something, man. I got to start playing with more removal in general. Like I'm always just like trying to get creatures by without removing them. And then we had the double removal, and I'm sitting there wondering how to get through. That's so silly, man. Yeah, the 4 glass caskets are actually good. It's going to hit way more than it doesn't hit. A lot of the things that you need to remove early are going to be early creatures, so 3 or less, right? And 3 or less, like so many 3-mana cards that are just so darn powerful. Like I'm pretty sure when you're curving out in a deck anyways, like the 3 drops are always like the most important in the curve, right? As you're curving out. I think so. Well, I guess it does depend on the deck. And at that point too, if you're up against like mono red or anything like that, Glass Casket picks up Godric quite nicely. Glass Casket just doing the thing and being an artifact and actually getting the Patchwork buffed, the Wurmlet buffed, the Wurmlet life gain. It just all seems to work well. And there's a lot of different cool synergies here. Now the top end here is Sovereign. I could see dropping down to 2 of these and going up another piece of utility based on the meta that you are actually seeing, right? So maybe you're seeing a lot of War Leader's Call and you actually want to add something in here that can pick up enchantments, like a Get Lost. Get Lost is amazing. It's freaking great, dude. So I could totally see that, dropping a Sovereign, going up a Get Lost. Speaking of curves, that might alter the curve a little bit, but only going up 1, it's not going to change too much, you know what I mean? All right, guys. Hey, if you made it this far into the video for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.